I'm Scott Trout, CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can make parts of your existing court order irrelevant or harder to follow. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Contact CordellCordell.com, 1065 East Hillsdale Boulevard, Suite 310, Foster City, California, 94404.
All right, ready?
Sick. Yeah.
Let's do it. Nope, that's not right. Hold on. Having trouble with the buttons today.
You're listening to The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
What's happening, everybody? It's the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. We have no Brad Nolan today because Brad Nolan has family in town. Finally knowing what that feels like, Brad. He's been living too high on the hog out here in L.A. with just his wife and daughter, and now he's got a mom in town.
He's a family man.
So Patrick is sitting in with us today.
Brad Nolan, more like Brad No Show. Yeah.
I don't have any sound effects right now. Yes, I do. Let me see. I've got this one. This is what you get for that joke.
Real boner killer.
That is so stupid. Should do that again. Yeah, but you got family in town. You got other stuff you got to get going on. Before we get in, we're going to talk. We have an interesting show today because Pat and I both have interesting stuff to talk about today. Pat had a colonoscopy last week, and the results have been less than ideal.
The results are in.
They're less than ideal, and so we'll talk about that stuff. First, I want to get to this because I know you have opinions on the national anthem protests. I know you have opinions on politics.
Yeah.
I don't really want to particularly talk about a specific politician and his...
Trump?
Yeah, rather not. I don't want to get you fired up on Trump because I know that can be...
What about Junior? Can we talk about him?
Huh?
What about Junior?
I don't know,
Can we talk about Junior?
How about this?
I hate Junior.
You want to tell us what you got her?
Well, I better not get into that because I may get in trouble. Maybe I didn't get her so much. I got her a beautiful card. You know, I'm very busy to be running out looking for presents, okay? But I got a beautiful card. There's some beautiful flowers.
You know what's funny about that? That is a clip of Donald Trump talking about how he didn't really have time to get anything for Melania Trump, First Lady Melania Trump. That's the first time I think I've heard him since he's been president sound like somebody that I would actually kick it with or be around. Because that's, he just sounded like a normal guy.
He's being honest.
It just, you hear that, and then you hear some of the other things that he gets passionate about in terms of conversation. And, so let's get to the NFL stuff.
Yeah, he couldn't buy her anything anyways because he just gave Stormy Daniel $130,000.
He was tapped out.
He was tapped out. He had nothing left.
You're listening to the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. Now, what happened this week was the NFL's Owners Association, kind of on a wild card move, decided that they were going to address the national anthem protests. If you don't know what those are, over the past 2 seasons.
You haven't been watching football.
Right. So you might be, and hey, listen, man, people protest and do what you want. That's fine. It's your right as an American to protest however way you feel, as long as it's nonviolent and within the laws. Players have been kneeling during the national anthem to protest, in their words, police brutality and social injustices for minorities in this country. It kind of got then turned into and politicized into a polarizing debate on whether or not that these athletes are disrespecting the flag and our troops. And it's raging on. Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, still does not have a job.
Still free agent.
Still got to be better than most of the quarterbacks in the NFL that aren't starting, most of the backups. But is he worth the headache? Another debate. So the NFL owners came in and decided that they were going to fine, the league decided this, not the NFL owners. The league office decided they were going to fine teams who had a player kneel during the national anthem. Mm-hmm. It's against their policy now. That's their policy as a league. Now, they're not going to fine individual players. They're going to fine the teams, and the teams can then do what they want. Now, it's peculiar timing because we are on the cusp of Memorial Day weekend, which is a weekend where we are supposed to remember those who have lost their lives in service. So it's kind of a jerk move to do something like this over Memorial Day weekend because it feels disingenuous to debate, disrespecting the troops or this protest when really, man, let's focus on what we do on Monday, which is, well, we barbecue. We're going to barbecue, drink beer, and remember those who lost their lives. Pat, what are your thoughts on the whole thing? And what are your thoughts on it coming back now of all times being an issue?
So I think what is not being stated a lot of times when people are talking about this is what the other kind of like rules they made were. And one of those rules is that players are not now required to be out on the field by the NFL. Their teams may individually require them to go out on the field.
Like Jerry Jones may say for Dallas Cowboys,
stay inside if you want.
Well, yeah, but he's probably going to say get out there.
Oh,
but
Jerry
don't
Jones,
kneel.
yeah, because he's an old doofus.
Well, he's a different guy, and also that's a different market, man. Dallas. No, it's not. I don't want to go down that road because that's not fair. This country's full of different people, full of different viewpoints, full of different sensibilities. So it changes kind of regionally on people's opinions on whether or not it's.
Paul Allen will not require anyone to go out, and I doubt anyone will. And honestly, the whole thing that makes this so silly is that they weren't even doing this until 2009 when the Armed Services came in and gave a huge sponsorship to the NFL to have the players out on the field for the anthem.
See, that's the part I find to be the most disingenuous of this whole thing.
They're making money off the flag, and it's disrespecting to kneel. You guys made it into a business. Get out of here.
It's from the NFL's perspective. I don't know if they honestly thought this was going to squash the problem, but it really just seems to be backfiring because then Trump comes out and says, you know what? They should be standing, good for the NFL, and if the players don't want to stand, they shouldn't be this country. It's like, woof, doubling down. Going strong there. And Governor or Vice President Mike Pence, former governor of Indiana, he came out and said, hashtag winning.
Yeah.
We're winning.
Hashtag winning. Way to go, guys. So
then again, so there we have it again. Where these things are being hijacked for political gains. Yeah. And what it ends up doing is polarizing the people, man. We're being polarized in thinking that we're assuming that people who are protesting have ill intentions.
Yeah, they hate America.
They don't. We all want the same thing at the end of the day, and that is to live free and happy and live
safe,
our lives
and not be shot by cops. And that's the point they're trying to make. And it's their First Amendment right. My personal opinion is that the move that the NFL made is just like cowardly. They basically put it on the players and the owners to decide how they're going to deal with it, while also making a national headline that reads, "They banned kneeling during the anthem." So they got both sides of what they wanted, and they really don't have any skin in the game.
Right. Well,
it's up to you, teams, but if they do it, we're going to fine you, not the player.
And you're right. You're right. You bring up a great point. It is the kind of bitchiest thing you could do, because what you're going to do is you're going to say, like, it's not our fault, we told them. And now the owners, you're going to put these owners in a position, right? These team owners in a position where you have a league that is, I believe, up in the 80%, 70, 80%
and
African-American.
These guys want to kneel. If you force them out there, they're going to kneel, and they're not going to want to pay those fines.
And these,
you pay it, Jerry, you rich old white weirdo.
No, these owners are in a position where, what do you show? Loyalty to your players who go out there every day and bust their heads and play their hardest and make you money. They make you money.
Billions of dollars.
Or are you going to side with the league, who is basically kind of feeling like they're kowtowing to politics, which... Imagine any place of business where you were afraid of the government like messing with you on Twitter, and so you had to like change the rules of your office at the detriment of you and your relationship with your employees.
In terms of people and entities, corporations dealing with the government right now, Mark Zuckerberg is making Roger Goodell look like a little bitch. It's true. You got punked out by the nerd.
Well, I mean, a nerd knows a lot. You know what? Let's listen to this clip again because it reminds me of a Trump that I like.
Do you want to tell us what you got her?
Well, I better not get into that because I may get in trouble. Maybe I didn't get her so much.
Sounds like anybody's
dad. Uncle Don. I love Uncle Don.
I'm very busy to be running out looking for presents, okay? But I got a beautiful card. There's some beautiful flowers.
I think my dad pulled that exact move at one point in time.
Just sitting on the couch with them.
The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
Do.
Let's do it. I want to see what this. I don't even know what this button does.
Really real.
Brian Moote cares about people, sports, and family. Brad Nolan doesn't like to be bothered too much. The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
I do care about family.
You do?
And Brad Nolan doesn't like to be bothered too much. This is the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. Brad Nolan out today. He's got his mom in town, and that means that he can't hang out.
He got in trouble.
Grounded.
Yep. That means he can't hang out.
I feel like
Mom's in town, guys.
this is kind of a hangout show.
Stickball.
In form is my brother Patrick.
What up?
Wild week last week for you when it comes to health. Actually, wild last month or so.
It's been a wild couple months, man.
Yeah, so
You going through the ringer.
You had a colonoscopy.
I had a colonoscopy.
We'll talk about that in a second, but what led to the colonoscopy? Because we're going to talk about this whole health arc, and over the next coming months, we're going to talk more about things, and you're going to have some stuff, some procedures. But
updates.
What led you? I mean, you're 34 years old, so what led you to seek out a colonoscopy? Like, how does that even happen to a 34-year-old?
I mean, you were privy to it, and honestly, we talked about it on some prior podcasts where before I knew anything, before I'd had any tests done, and before I'd really even talked to any doctors, I couldn't take a dump for like a month.
That's right. We had Poop Watch.
We had Poop Watch.
What was it, like 12 days?
I mean, yeah, something at least 12 days. It was
And
like
you were
3 weeks
like
almost.
crushing prune juice.
Oh, I was doing everything. My body was 99% fiber.
I mean, I think at one point in time, I jokingly said like you needed to start like a Heinz 57 ketchup bottle with like a butter knife.
Yeah, sure. Just
They're just
whoop, 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 whoop.
whip it all out. That's so disgusting. If you tune out after that
It's
point,
gross. It's fine. We get
don't
it.
though.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is going to be a great,
gonna get
a very
real.
interesting, real story. All
Yeah,
right,
I'll get real here in a second. So that was what? That was like 2 months ago.
yeah, just about.
So then things started moving again, but my stomach just hurt all the time. I had all these pains, so I went into I got a referral to a gastroenterologist, so a gastro, like an intestinal doctor. I went into him. He said that there could possibly be a couple different things. It's either IBS or it's some form of Crohn's or colitis, which
Right.
that
None of
would be
those
the
are
worst.
good.
No, and Crohn's colitis, like you can't.
That's not something you get rid of, right?
No,
that's for life.
that's permanent. That's for life, and that was the worst case scenario. That's what I was worried about, you know. And I dated a girl who had Crohn's, and it was really bad, and it's painful, and it's you can manage it, but you can't get rid of it. So that was a little bit scary. I did a test. It came back. It was like a breath test where I didn't eat for like a day, and
It was a burp test. You're telling me
kind
about. I was
of.
like, that
You drink this
sounds
thing that like
awful.
makes your stomach all gassy, and then you blow into a bag every 15 minutes for
And
two
they
and
were
a half hours.
testing for bacteria, like
Yes.
the correct bacteria.
To see what kind of bacteria is growing in your stomach, how much. They can basically do it with your breath. That came back as abnormal. My stomach was still really hurting though, and I kind of insisted on the colonoscopy. I was like, there's something wrong. Like I can feel it. There's something wrong
Which
with
is the colonoscopy for anybody is not pleasant, but it's become this thing for dudes that has become like this.
no,
dude.
put anything in my butt, man.
Exit only, bro. Exit only.
Fine, we'll go down through your throat, you dummy. It takes a lot longer. They can do that one too.
Ugh, gross. Exit only on that. Oh, that's an entrance.
No, that's entrance too, buddy. Yeah, so went in last Thursday and got the colonoscopy.
And I picked you up, and we were all
Yeah.
funny, goofing
We
around.
were kind of being a couple chuckleheads.
Yeah, I
like,
recorded
ha, 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 ha.
audio of Patrick just mumbling about how he wanted to be he was going to be the best Uber driver on the planet because he watched Fast and Furious and all sorts of stuff.
I don't remember any of that. I was on Propanol, so I was. And if anybody's worried about having a colonoscopy, I will tell you that was the easiest part of any of this. Like, I mean, getting the IV was more, kind of
traumatizing.
than the actual colonoscopy. They put you under.
You don't remember anything.
No, you don't remember anything. Woke up, my stomach was a little sore. So we got audio of this too, which I didn't realize we were going to do this today. Otherwise, I would have given you the audio. We could have cut it out, but we can listen to it at some other point. Fact of the matter is, it's not very
Well,
funny.
at the end of this, the goof arounds aren't. It's like we were making light of some silly butt camera operation, and then there's some serious stuff that they revealed.
So right after the colonoscopy, Brian was there with me. We were waiting. The guy came in and he said, I found 9 polyps in your colon.
And we don't have any frame of reference for if that's bad or not.
It's not really. I even asked, I was like, is that good?
Yeah, well,
I knew it wasn't good, but I was trying to be funny.
Well, and the way he said it was so don't alarm yourself, but also like I don't know nothing about polyps, so I just kind of was like, oh, 9. And he's like, well, we got rid of 8.
Yeah, we got 8 of the polyps out of there. There was one that we could not. We took a biopsy of it to see what it is, but there's a good chance it's going to require surgery and it's going to need to come out. So I was fairly prepared for that. Obviously, that's not great news, but it also wasn't Crohn's or anything, and there's no reason to really be that concerned.
But you had one polyp that he said this is going to have to come out, legitimately
soon,
go under
probably.
hospital surgery.
Yeah, and so then he called on Monday, and told me that the biopsy came back and that it is a cancerous polyp, like it has cancerous cells in it. And so now the level of kind of importance of getting it out is gone from, like 50% to like 90.
No, it's 100%.
Yeah, like 100%.
Like when they find a cancerous polyp, it's just a matter of time. It's got those cells that
they're going to spread.
Yeah, they don't play by the rules, and they're like, we're here to take over.
No. So that's scary in and of itself. I think the hardest part so far has been telling people that I care about, because I know that how it sounds, and I don't want them to hear it from anyone else, because that it just sounds terrifying. Like, I still don't even like the idea of saying that I have cancer. Like, I feel like there's a problem and it needs to be dealt with. I don't like saying that I have cancer, because that feels like it's quitting.
Right. It also sounds like when you say...
It sounds dire. There's so much different levels.
When I have cancerous cells, it sounds like you're trying to say like, oh, no. It's like it's pre. I mean, flat out, there's cancer in that. They just you have more tests to see like how severe and what type and all that. And
all this has been scary. The doctor keeps telling me that I'm taking it incredibly well, which I'm like, don't say that to me, because I don't need. Should I be scared?
Right, like, am I in
I'm
denial?
just naive. I'm naive. I don't know. I don't know what this means. Like, what do I tell people? What do I do? But even though that's been kind of scary, tomorrow is kind of the day when we find out what the deal is, because I'm getting a CAT scan. They're going to look at everything in the pelvic region and see if there's any other spots
that are of concern.
Yeah, or if this is kind of originating from somewhere else.
Right. So that, I guess I didn't really think about that. That's got to be.
That's the moment of truth. And Killian, our younger brother, is coming in to town to be here, because he was all.
Everybody's worried.
Scared. Everybody's worried. And I appreciate the sport, and I'm not excited, but I feel confident about this process because of the people that I'm surrounded by, and like how much everybody, I know cares about me and how much I care about them. And so tomorrow we will either be drinking to celebrate or drinking to not celebrate. There is
drinking to remember, or drinking to forget.
So are we pouring it out or are we pouring it down?
Well, I think the interesting thing for me is, you are taking it remarkably well in terms of. I think that that's not a bad thing. I think what it is, it's understanding that you did the right things early. You went in and got a colonoscopy because you knew in your gut, literally and figuratively, that you had some problems health-wise that weren't normal, and you took it in matters into your own hands to go get those things looked at. So I think one reason that you are not panicking, because I'm sure there's a tendency to panic, but what does stress do? Stress reduces your immune system. Stress does everything. So I think until you have definitive answers on, how serious it is, it's like, what's the point of getting yourself
My
worked
brain
up?
can't fix this.
And cancer, like that, they say the C word, but cancer is terrifying. It's terrifying because you just have to trust modern medicine, and you have to trust early screening and prevention. I know, like, it's got me all concerned because it's a genetic thing where it's like, I got to go
looked at, dude.
I got to shove a camera.
My doctor even was like, hey, what about your brothers? Do they have colonoscopy set up? I was like, I guarantee you they're thinking about it right now.
Yeah, I
now
don't have one yet, but I'm going to. I think, like, so how do you, like, in just your normal day before we get out of here, because I don't want to, pepper you too much with questions. I know it's like you do a lot of thinking. You're
a sensitive man. That's why I'm trying so hard to keep it together. And even Mom's just like, are you okay? You're just so calm about this. It's like, I know you expect me to have a meltdown.
But
Mom.
But you have no other
I got
recourse.
nothing. And
so when you wake up though, it's like, how often is that on your mind that you got these appointments? Or are you able just to compartmentalize and say, hey, you know what? Until I know what the doctors say, like, I'm not just going to torture myself right now.
I'm compartmentalizing pretty well. Usually when I wake up in the morning, what I felt is like I wake up and I'm like, was that a bad dream? Like, am I
right?
And then it's like, no, it wasn't, and my stomach still hurts. So it's like, no, it wasn't. There's a problem here. I have to be very cautious of letting my imagination wander, because then pretty soon I'm like showing up to Killian's wedding with a cane and no hair in my head, and like freak, and I don't realize that I've gone there in my imagination.
Right.
And my heart's beating fast, and I'm getting terrified, and I literally have to shake that out like an Etch-a-Sketch and just like
reset
the mind and just go and be like, I can't. That will not help. And you know me, I've had some problems with my immune system. I get like infections and skin infections that are really bad. I used to get sick a lot when I was younger. I had like asthma and stuff. Like I've just always kind of had these little things, and so I've always been quick to kind of self-diagnose and to go too far.
Right, go down that rabbit hole of poor health or what if this or what if that. I think we all have a tendency to not dwell on the worst case scenario, but think of it as a possibility when really that's just wasted space.
Energy.
It's wasted energy and wasted space in your mind to wonder about, because you're right. I mean, we have Killian's wedding in early September at Labor Day weekend, and it's like I could even do that. I mean, I've always just blamed my like a touchy stomach on just touchy stomach, but what if we all have like this genetic ailment, and then so you're going in for your surgery, and then I'm following you up in early August,
right?
So it's kind of like, but if you're going to let your mind be consumed by all of that negative thought, what's the point?
And your brain can't fix the problem, but it can make it worse. You know what I mean? And my immune system is very susceptible to my stress levels, my anxiety, my insecurities. Like when I'm stressed, I get sick all the time. Like this happens to me. I know this is a thing, and so I refuse. Because even the people that I've talked to who I know have a knee-jerk reaction to just fall apart and make it all about like, oh my God.
You have been hesitant to tell people have a personal history with things like this because they're going to automatically default to worst case scenario. Which I think, like, for me, I've just tried to be like, yeah, man, how you feeling? Good to go? All right, let's see what the doctor is going to say. Like, be very pragmatic about it and just encourage you to believe in medicine and believe in early screening and the things
believe
that you
in the process, man. I've been taking it in the pooper in this industry for 10 years. This is nothing. Look out, cancer. I got you.
You know what I mean? Because there's no reason for me putting any of my fears or that on other people. So I think I know it's impressive of you to be able to talk about it. And I know there's people are going to hear this, are probably going to hit you up immediately and be like, oh my God. But I mean, the next step is screenings on Friday, and then you come back and we find out, and then next week you kind of formulate a plan of action. But you can't put your life on hold for things. No,
we're still going out. We're going to start shooting a documentary out in Montana about the Big Sky Comedy Festival. That's not going on hold. I'm going out there. I'm doing it. And I know that laying around and just thinking about because if I think about it hard enough, I can feel the cancer, and it has a face, and it has a mustache, and it's got a little cane, and it's like tying my white blood cells to train tracks. It's an evil.
Wrong.
Yeah. He's wrong. It's a little Trump down there just firing things up.
Wrong. Well, you're going to be fine, man. I believe in that.
Thank you, brother. I love you.
You've done all the right things. So, I mean, man, you caught it. You inspired me to go get a camera shoved up my ass.
Yeah, that's right.
The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
Is it mad about cockroaches?
Oh, no, but let's talk about that, too. Let's talk about different things altogether.
Here we have Brad Nolan.
I think my daughter is probably the coolest thing that I've ever done.
And Brian Moote.
Kids are monsters, and especially when they're honest with you.
Just two boys living in a Barbie world. The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
What's happening? It's the Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan. Not exactly sure what a Barbie world means. And Brad is not in today because his mom's in town. So he's with his mom, his daughter, and his wife, which means he's in a Barbie world.
Oh, Barbie boy.
I don't even know what that phrase means,
He's more of like a troll doll than a Ken doll, though.
Wow.
Boom, boom, shots fired.
Brad does have the soul of an 85-year-old disgruntled union employee.
It's crazy.
Patrick Moote's sitting in with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Last segment, we were a little heavy. Talking about Pat and colonoscopies
you guys like
and
that?
cancer.
You like that? Little
vulnerability.
Conflict? I'm vulnerable. I'm an open book, baby.
So we're going to lighten it up this segment because, I mean, look, we just try to have fun. And, the whole premise of this show is topical, fun. Sometimes it's a bummer. And you know what? Some of you guys probably tuned out as soon as Pat wanted to go on his Trump rant right out the gate.
Yeah, that's right. They're funny, you guys. I'm telling you. They're really funny.
I had a conversation with my girlfriend about the hall pass list. Is it called the hall pass list, Pat?
I mean, I think it's, or like the one.
I
like
guess.
your get out of jail free. I guess you're hall pass person. It's not a list, really, I don't think. You shouldn't have a list.
Well, okay, but hold on. I'll tell you.
It'd be like
I'll basically
Rihanna, your sister.
Right.
This is.
I mean, that stupid joke of like, I'm going to take all Asian women.
Yeah. Oh, ha, ha. Got you, wife.
We had but here's the funny part about this whole premise is like people go, okay, I got a list. It's like, Selma Hayek, Gwyneth Paltrow. And then the whole idea is that if you somehow run into these people and they are willing to have sexual relations of any kind with you, then you're off scot-free, man.
That's
no trouble. No trouble with the missus.
pretty ridiculously egotistical to think that any of these famous people would just want to sleep with you because you walked past them on the street.
As if you had...
As if Selma Hayek's hurting for getting some love.
As if you look at the current climate in Hollywood, including Harvey Weinstein, rumored to be turning himself into the New York authorities on Friday to he's going to get charged with sex crimes. Good.
Yeah.
That
Good.
Big, fat, disgusting pig.
Stop making us look bad, dudes.
Well, the thing is that as if those women, those or men for that matter, haven't been fighting off people of moderate and mediocre looks and talent for their whole lives, not wanting. It's just the whole premise is ridiculous. But basically, so Jessica has one name on her list. That's it. One name. And that's it.
I know what it is. I can guess.
One guess.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, how did you know? Because she named her dog Lee.
After him. It's just, I've never even heard of such a thing.
Naming your dog after your celebrity crush?
I know. Come here, Tom Hardy. Come here.
And you know what's funny is that she loves DiCaprio so much. Like, she loves him, loves everything he does. And he makes it hard to not like him. Like, I have no problem with him. It would be a situation where if that did come to fruition and somehow DiCaprio and her went off on his private yacht to an island, I actually would be wanting to hear the story,
Yeah, sure.
Minus the sex stuff, but
I probably want to hear it.
Well, I might.
I'm sure he's into some weird stuff.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
See, that'd
so
be
weird.
I'd hope that he's into some super weird stuff that would weird her out and then she wouldn't go through with it. But then again, it's Leo, so you probably are like, let's give it a shot. But he makes it impossible to hate him. His movies are cool. He's always donating to charities. He doesn't play the celebrity game. He just does what he wants. He does not on his Instagram is just posting all about endangered animals.
See, I would say he's not impossible to not like. There's a certain amount of smugness where the glasses and then the hat pulled low and the don't bother me, I'm famous kind of thing that he's
Maybe,
doing.
but he is super famous.
I mean, he's way famous. He's way famous. And I can't say that I wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying it's not impossible to not like him. You can find some things.
I just feel like he's not an undercover dick.
Blake Lively had some things to say about him when they were dating. That he was
really?
a nut. Yeah, that he was a super controlling nut. Nut
I mean,
guy.
that might be the case.
I'm sure he's crazy.
He puts nothing out there that he doesn't want to be out there. I just find him fascinating.
Yeah, no, and he's got a good heart. He does try to help out a lot. He's not as charming off camera as Matt Damon, but they're similar. Daddy's amazing.
Strong.
Still been with the same girl since
he
high
just
school.
seems like such a buddy.
Oh, I know.
I know. He's a guy I don't think I'd be starstruck hanging out with.
No.
I think Leo I would. Damon I'd be like, hey man, you want to play pool?
Yeah, we're just hitting it off. He's the kind of friend who'll prop you up when you're doing really well or feeling down, and also call you out when you're acting like a dummy.
Is that literally from one of his movies?
I don't know, maybe.
Did you just do his character from Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
No, Matt Damon's the guy who 10 minutes into meeting him, you'd be like, hey man, could I text you during my fantasy football draft and ask who you'd take? And he'd be like, yeah, man.
He'd be like, hey man, look at your phone. I already sent you a friend request.
You just turned him into Mark Wahlberg.
Hey man, check out your phone, buddy.
Check out your phone.
Cool.
Here's where
You come to my birthday party?
Here's where I feel like her reply to me was so disrespectful. She's only got Leo on her list, and she basically was like, I can have the field if she can have Leo. There's no woman in Hollywood that she would have a problem with me having on that list. One, if it helped my career, if I was texting with him or whatnot, or I met him, and she wouldn't have a problem with it. But I also felt hey, I live in Los Angeles. I live in Hollywood. So do they.
This could happen.
You're being way too flippant about giving me the field. Like it's like playing craps, and I bet the what is it the cum line?
Sure,
that's probably an inappropriate,
terrible reference.
In context, it seems awful, but it's legit.
Yeah,
no, but you know what I mean. It just seemed like.
I mean, and what does that mean though? Like that could help your career. Like, what if you have like a hot neighbor who's like a junior agent at CAA? She's on my list. She was on the list.
No,
She's
but it's got to be
always
famous people, not agents. But that being said,
is Katherine
Katy
Heigl
Perry's
famous?
got 110 million Twitter followers. Like, what if Katy Perry was just like, I like
you? She has 110 million Twitter followers.
She's the most followed person on Twitter. It's unbelievable.
What does she tweet about? Is it good? I'm not following her.
She tweets about American Idol and unfunny and uninteresting things. Oh. But anyways, what I felt was disrespectful. It's almost like a challenge. Like it's like she's daring me, like throwing down the gauntlet.
I dare you to bang someone famous, Brian.
Right. For your
good
career.
luck with that, buddy.
And so I kind of called her out. I was like, well, it seems like this seems kind of like you're totally disrespecting my game here. You know, like I don't have any game. And this was her answer. She's not concerned. Because if I started texting any famous Hollywood woman, right? Take Jessica Chastain, for example.
Oh, God, I text her so hard.
Right. So
love her.
My girlfriend's stance is that any girl in Hollywood that I start texting, she would have a better shot of being friends with them than I would at hooking up. So she is betting on herself to cock block me at every turn if I get a famous
You know what you
friend.
should do, though? This would be awesome. And this is how you throw it back in her face. You find one that she's attracted to also. Like some woman that she loves, some actress. And then it's like, hey, and then she starts texting with her, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, let's all hang out. Am I right?
That would 100% be Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. Oh, that'd be great.
And you know what would be the easiest part about it? I wouldn't even have to remember who's who because they're both named Jessica.
The Brian Moote Show with Brad Nolan.
That's a little lighter than cancer.
Yeah, it's lighter than cancer.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year! Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.